I'm Teacher Lisa, your ESL video instructor. In today's lesson, we're going to take a look at how to make general statements. We'll look at some of the grammar. So let's jump right into it. So making a general statement. Typically, we start with it. So as soon as you hear it, you know that this is a general statement. So we're just going to read the key language introductory to it. Certain set phrases beginning "it is" can be used at the start of a sentence. It is the subject of the sentence and can be used to express a general truth or belief. So we use it to express a general truth or belief. So we have a nice example here. We start the sentence with an it clause, or clause meaning part of the sentence to keep it easy. It's the piece of the sentence. It is easy. And then we have an infinitive clause. Why do we call this the infinitive clause? Because we have to. So the next part of the sentence is going to start with to, and then we have a verb. We haven't done anything to the verb, just to make mistakes in a new language. So let's read the whole sentence. It is easy to make mistakes in a new language. So we start with it is easy, and the next piece of that sentence is going to start with to. Okay, so let's continue. Look at the next sentence. So we can also start the sentence again with it, just like we did the first example. It is a shame. Now, instead of continuing the sentence with to, we're going to use that so many people give up. You notice after the that, there's no verb. We just say whatever we need to say. With the previous example, we had to, and then we had a verb make right after it, to make. So that's the infinitive. Here, we're just going to say that and just followed by an explanation or whatever we want to say. Let's continue. Let's look at some examples. Again, general statements with it. So we've given you 5 examples here. Let's read them. Some of them have the to clause. Some of them have that clause. Let's see the difference. First one. It is important to be relaxed about making mistakes. It is essential to give yourself time to study regularly. So we have the to, and then we have a verb with nothing that we've done to it. We haven't changed the verb, to be and to give. Next one, it's true that being able to speak a second language is useful. It's unlikely that you will be comfortable speaking aloud at first. It's difficult to remember new words if you don't write them down. So again, all of these examples, we are talking very, very generally. We are not talking about a specific person. We're just saying it. But remember, the next part of the sentence has to start with to or that. We use to if we're just going to use a verb directly after it, and we don't change the verb. That's why it's the infinitive form. And then we use that followed by an explanation or whatever else we need to say in that part of the sentence. Let's continue. Now you have some practice. So with this part, I would like you to pause the video, and I'd like you to choose which from the word bank here at the bottom will make the sentence correct. So let's look at the example. Remember, do we need to or that? Here's the first example. It's important to have the skills to communicate. So we have to have. It makes sense. We're going to use the infinitive. Number 1, with busy work and social life, it's blank. Most people have time to study. It's true that. Why don't I type them in for you here? True that. Most people have little time to study. You notice why I have that and not the to. What is following the that? There's no verb there. There's going to be no infinitive. It's just going to be that, most people. So we have to look at what is following that clause, correct? When you have that it clause, what is following that? Is it better to say to or that? Let's look at number 2. Languages are so useful. It is blank. So many people, so few people learn a second language. Yeah, that's very true. It's a shame that. It's a shame that. Okay, a shame that. Again, we're going to use that. What's following the that? There's no infinitive. It's just that. There's no verb here. It is a shame that few people know second languages, but that's a issue for another time. So let's cross out a shame that. Number 3, learning doesn't have to be expensive. It is not blank, spend a lot of money. Okay, we have the verb here. So what clause do we like? The infinitive clause to. So essential to. Essential to spend. So hopefully you're getting the idea here now. Number 4, try internet study groups. It is blank, meet other language learners online. We have a verb here in the infinitive form. Nothing's done to it, so we need the to. Easy to. It's easy to. And the last one, I always like to say, the most difficult one. It's the last one. Do we know the answer? Yes. Don't worry if you need time. It's unlikely that you'll be able to speak fluently quickly. Unlikely that. So again, why do we have that? What's following that? There's no verb. There's no verb. So we have to use that. Remember, to goes with the infinitive form of the verb, like to speak. We haven't done anything to the verb. If there's no verb directly after that it clause, then we're going to use that and then whatever else we need to say after that. I'll give you an example of how we can emphasize something in a sentence. So key language leading with an infinitive phrase. So we saw how we lead with the it phrase, with the it clause, and then we have the to clause or the that clause. But what if we want to emphasize something? So let's just read our side note here. When you want to emphasize the context of the infinitive clause, you can put it at the front of the sentence. So basically what they're saying is we're going to take this first piece. If we read the sentence, it is easy to begin learning. What if I want to focus on the learning aspect of it, to begin learning? I want you to know that's important. So all I can do is just flip it to the first part of the sentence. And we're going to start the sentence by saying, to begin learning is easy. We've dropped the it because we don't need it. To begin learning is easy. Because remember, it is how we start a sentence. We're not starting the sentence here with the it clause. So we just say to begin learning is easy. Keep it going is harder. Keeping it going is harder. That's very true, isn't it? Let's give you some more practice. Here you have to cross out the incorrect words in each sentence. So we have an example. The first one is done for you. It is worth working hard. To give up now would be a shame. To give up now. So we're using that to with the give, to give up. So pause the video and see if you can get the rest correct before I give you the answer. Okay, number 1. Remember, it's important. What do you think? To be relaxed. To be relaxed about making mistakes. That's very true. Don't get too excited about mistakes. We all make them. Number 2, again, which one do we need? To, that, or it? With so many options is no longer difficult to find, right? Language courses online. So remember the first one is the to with relaxed, or to be rather, the to with the be, and then to find, we have the infinitive form. Number 3 and 4, take a note. We are actually starting the sentence. So think about if we can start the sentence with the to clause or with the it clause. So number 3 is going to be to take the exam now would be a waste of time. She hasn't studied at all. So we're really emphasizing taking that exam as a waste of time. We're bringing it to the front of the sentence. So that is correct. Number 4, it is unlikely that he will finish the class before the end of the year. It is unlikely. Right? Because of the grammar here, we're just making a general statement. We have to use just it. It is. Number 5, don't give up. It's true that the more you study, the better you will become. So again, we use that. We don't have any verb to put the to next to, so we have to say that. We can't say to the more you study. At this level, if you're intermediate level, you can even use your ear to know what sounds correctly, but we're just showing you the grammar of the sentence so you understand why we create the sentences the way we do. All right. See you in the next video. We're going to look at vocabulary as it relates to travel and tourism. Thanks for watching.